Christian Eubank Jr. won at the weekend. He got a unanimous points decision over the Welshman Liam Williams in Cardiff. Spencer, you were there, mate.
Yep.
I saw you trying to get every one of Sky's shots. But I mean, it was incident by Williams hit the canvas 3 times in the opening 4 rounds, and then you thought he's up against it here. Then Eubank Jr. tells us all at the end that he schooled Williams. Well, if he schooled him, why didn't he put him away?
Well, I think he did school him, if I'm honest. I think that, do you know what? When I was looking at the fight, this is as the fight was unfolding, I think that he was down twice, Williams, in the first round, wasn't he? Down again in the second round, down again in the fourth round.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, it's got to be over soon. You know, the powers of recovery he's got, Williams, is incredible. But I think he'd lost too much weight, so he'd lost that punch resistance. Spoke to you about this, Simon, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that's why he was going down with jabs, because every shot, by the way, was a jab. And I thought, yeah, it's going to be over here. Round 5, it's going to be done. Then all of a sudden, Eubank just started taking his foot off the gas. Now, do you know what that tells me? I thought he'd hurt his hands or something, because he started throwing less volume of punches, but he wasn't gassing. He wasn't getting tired. But I think that people that were watching it thinking that he was running out of steam a little bit. I thought that I take a lot of pluses from Eubank's performance, by the way. I thought that was a career best performance. I think that if you look at what he was doing, his foot movements improved, his shot selection was good, his timing was incredible, and I think he's a work in progress. And I think that what we saw on Saturday night was what Roy Jones has been implementing in him. He's actually starting to get over the line now, and I think Roy was vocal about that as well. Eubank Jr. has never listened to any trainer in his life. He's gone out there and done what he's wanted to do himself. I think what we're seeing for the first time is that it's starting to all come together.
Right. I know you were on social media, Simon. I saw one of the bits and pieces you put out, and I thought you were right about Williams and after the hard job he'd had with Andrade.
Yeah.
But on Eubank Jr., did he impress you?
I think he impressed me in the first. Well, I don't think he impressed me in the first 3 or 4 rounds, and certainly impressed me because his timing was great. His footwork was great. He's going into the Lions Den in such a way that the support was so partisan. But then we get into this mode of fighting for the next 5 rounds, which doesn't smack of anybody that's going to win a world title.
Yeah.
It smacks of somebody that had the measure of an opposition. Whether that opposition had lost punch resistance because he'd got beaten up by Demetrius Andrade, or he had gone into a fight 14 pounds, having to drop 14 pounds very quickly and was dehydrated. Either which way, sheer heart brought Liam Williams back into that fight. And that he should never have been able to impose himself at times into the fight in the way that he did with Chris Eubank. And if Chris Eubank is going to be a bona fide world champion and fight real guys at real world level, he's not going to get away with anything vaguely resembling that.
So what I took from it at the time as well, and having watched it back, I was seeing that there was a drastic change in tactics from Eubank. He started, and you're right in what you say, the first half of the contest, I was sitting there going, wow, I think this kid's now, it tells us he's now, his pennies drops, he now looks world class. Then the second half of the fight, he's doing less and less punching, but he starts goading him, he's clowning, shaking, and I think that's what people didn't like. People didn't like the fact that he was rolling his shoulders, doing all this footwork.
Well, not in front of a Welsh audience.
No, absolutely, but I think that was a little bit of a cover-up. I think he damaged his hands or done something, because the punches stopped flowing, but the energy still looked like it was there.
His interview afterwards, I mean, Johnny Nelson did his very level best, right, before the Chris Eubank interview, to make the fight look like Eubank's best performance, but after listening to the interview, he had to say it was laughable to suggest that I could have taken him out any time I wanted to. I kept him in there because I wanted to punish him. I wanted him to be accountable for the words that he said. I wanted him to learn lessons. Come on now, and you put yourself in jeopardy, Chris, because he was getting closer and closer, and the final knockdown wasn't even a knockdown. In the 11th round, that wasn't a knockdown. That took the last vestiges of steam out of his sails.
I've got to say, though, Simon, there is something about Eubank Jr.
I like him.
I mean, in terms of his clowning about and all that, he is an entertainer.
Here you go. I'm going to tell you that he will win a world title, and I'll tell you why he wins a world title. We had this conversation, didn't we, yesterday? So the WBC title is I think Charlo's got the WBC title. Murata's got the WBA title. Both these guys possibly moving up in weight, because obviously Canelo is looking for an opponent. Charlo looks like a good one to move up and fight him, because he's a good name. Murata is the WBA champion. He could move up and fight him. WBO Demetrius Andrade, who we saw beating Williams, he could move up and fight. So one of those 3, I reckon, will fight Canelo next.
I don't hear Jake Paul's name getting mentioned.
I'm going to get onto that next.
Good.
I'm going to get onto that next. Give me.
Sorry, Spence.
Yeah, no, I'm going to get onto that.
To fight
so Andrade moves up. So we got 3 titles there that could become vacant. Chris Eubank's up in the rankings, number 1 or number 2 by all those rankings. wins. He gets put in for a vacant title against whoever, anybody in the top 10, and I believe he wins a world title. And that's the way that Simon, I don't think he beats any of the champions. Maybe Murata. I don't think he beats any of the other champions, but I just think that will become
He gets
open.
a world title like
shot.
Charles Martin got a world title. And then he gets to fight someone of significance. I mean, listen, when you explained it to me yesterday and walked me through, because I said he doesn't beat any of the defending champions that are there. But when you've got a vacated belt...
When I told you what was going on with it,
when you get
landscape.
and you get manoeuvring and manipulation, and you get an opportunity to strategically manoeuvre him into a position of being a world title, okay, he's a world champion.
Yeah,